Everyone wants to know the secret, the shortcut, the one thing that separates those who win from those who watch others win. They study the routines of billionaires. They read the biographies of champions. They analyze the habits of the top 1%. And they find patterns, early mornings, disciplined schedules, relentless work ethic. But here's what they miss. These are symptoms, not causes. They're the visible behaviors that result from something deeper, something most people never identify because they're too busy chasing tactics instead of transformation. There is one habit, one mental practice that sits at the foundation of every extraordinary achievement. It's not sexy, it's not something you can post on social media, and it's so subtle that most people overlook it entirely. But once you understand it, once you build it into your daily operating system, everything changes. Your decisions sharpen, your focus intensifies, your resilience becomes unshakable, and you begin to operate at a level that most people can't comprehend. This is not about working harder, it's about thinking differently, and the difference is everything. Part 1. The perception gap. Winners see the world differently, not because they have access to better information, but because they process information through a different lens. Most people operate in reactive mode. They respond to circumstances, emotions, and external pressures. Their decisions are dictated by how they feel in the moment, by what's comfortable, by what's convenient, and this keeps them trapped in patterns they don't control. Winners operate in creative mode. They don't just respond to reality, they shape it. They see obstacles as variables to manipulate. They view setbacks as data points to analyze, and they treat their emotions as signals to observe, not commands to obey. This shift in perception is not innate, it's cultivated through one specific habit that most people never develop, the habit of conscious interpretation. Here's what this means. Every event in your life is neutral until you assign it meaning. You don't experience reality directly, you experience your interpretation of reality, and your interpretation determines your response. When something goes wrong, most people interpret it as evidence of their inadequacy, bad luck, or insurmountable obstacles. Winners interpret it as feedback, a redirection, or a necessary step in the process. Same event, different interpretation, completely different outcome. The habit that separates winners is this: they actively choose their interpretation instead of passively accepting the first one their mind offers. Part 2. The default narrative. Your mind generates narratives constantly. It's trying to make sense of the world, predict outcomes, and keep you safe. But the narratives it generates are not objective. They're shaped by fear, past experiences, and evolutionary programming that prioritizes survival over success. When you face a challenge, your mind's default narrative is often, "This is too hard, you might fail, why risk it?" When you experience a setback, the default narrative is, "You're not good enough, this isn't meant for you, give up." These narratives feel true because they're automatic. But automatic does not mean accurate. Winners develop the habit of questioning the default narrative. When their mind offers a story, they pause and ask, "Is this true? Is this useful? Is there another way to interpret this?" This is not toxic positivity. It's not about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring real problems. It's about refusing to accept disempowering interpretations without examination. Because here's the reality: if you accept the default narrative, you accept the default outcome, and the default outcome is mediocrity. Part 3. The reframing. Reflex. Reframing is the skill of consciously choosing a more empowering interpretation. It's not about lying to yourself or denying reality. It's about recognizing that multiple interpretations exist for every situation, and deliberately selecting the one that serves your goals. Let's say you launch a project and it fails. The default narrative might be, I wasted my time. I'm not cut out for this. A reframe might be, I gathered valuable data. I now know what doesn't work, which brings me closer to what does. Same situation, different frame. The first interpretation leads to quitting. The second leads to iteration. Winners have trained themselves to reframe automatically. It's not something they think about, it's a reflex. When something goes wrong, they don't spiral into self-doubt. They immediately ask, what can I learn from this? How can I use this? This doesn't mean they ignore pain or pretend everything is fine. It means they don't let temporary circumstances define their identity or potential. And this habit, this reflex, is what allows them to persist when others quit. It's not that they're more talented or lucky. It's that they interpret setbacks as part of the process instead of evidence of failure. Part 4. The emotional mastery loop. Most people are controlled by their emotions. They feel anxious, so they avoid. They feel discouraged, so they quit. They feel comfortable, so they stagnate. Winners don't suppress their emotions, they master them. And mastery begins with separation. Here's the habit. When an emotion arises, winners observe it instead of becoming it. They notice, I'm feeling anxious. Not, I'm anxious. This subtle shift creates distance. It reminds them that emotions are temporary experiences, not permanent identities. From this place of observation, they can choose their response. They can acknowledge the emotion without letting it dictate their behavior. They can feel fear and act anyway. They can feel tired and show up regardless. This is the emotional mastery loop. Feel, observe, choose, act. And it's built through repetition. Every time you feel resistance and act anyway, you strengthen this loop. Every time you notice an emotion without being consumed by it, you build mastery. And over time, your emotions become information instead of obstacles. Most people never develop this loop. They remain at the mercy of their feelings, and their potential remains locked behind their mood. Part 5. The identity. Lock. Your behavior is a reflection of your identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you'll find ways to struggle. If you see yourself as someone who doesn't finish things, you'll sabotage your progress. If you see yourself as unlucky, you'll overlook opportunities. Winners understand this, and they've developed the habit of actively shaping their identity through their actions. Here's how it works. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you're becoming. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you vote for reliability. Every time you push through discomfort, you vote for resilience. Every time you reframe a setback, you vote for mental strength, and your identity is simply the accumulation of these votes. The habit that separates winners is this. They treat every small decision as an identity-building moment. They don't just work out because they want to be fit. They work out because they are the type of person who honors their commitments. They don't just study because they want knowledge. They study because they are the type of person who invests in growth. This shift from goal-oriented behavior to identity-oriented behavior changes everything. Because goals are temporary, identity is permanent. And when your actions align with your identity, consistency becomes effortless. Part 6. The clarity practice. Most people operate in a fog. They have vague desires, unclear priorities, and scattered focus. They want success, but they haven't defined what success means. They want to improve, but they don't know what to focus on. Winners have clarity, and clarity is not accidental. It's cultivated through deliberate practice. The habit is this. Winners take time, usually daily, to clarify their priorities, intentions, and focus. This doesn't require hours. It requires intentionality. They ask themselves, what matters most today? What is the one thing that, if accomplished, would make everything else easier? What am I optimizing for right now? This practice prevents them from drifting. It keeps them aligned with their long-term vision while navigating short-term demands, and it ensures that their energy flows toward what matters instead of what's urgent. Most people skip this step. They dive into their day without direction. They react to emails, notifications, and other people's priorities. And by the end of the day, they're exhausted but unproductive. Winners start with clarity, and clarity creates leverage. Part 7. The constraint advantage. Most people think freedom comes from having unlimited options. Winners know that freedom comes from strategic constraints. When you have too many options, you become paralyzed. You spend more time deciding than doing. You dilute your focus across too many targets and hit none of them with precision. Winners deliberately limit their options. They say no to good opportunities so they can say yes to great ones. They narrow their focus to the few things that matter most, and they protect their time, energy, and attention from anything that doesn't align with their priorities. This is the habit of intentional elimination. It's not about doing less for the sake of it. It's about doing less so you can do more of what matters. They eliminate distractions, commitments, and relationships that drain without adding value. They simplify their environment to reduce decision fatigue. They create boundaries that protect their most productive hours. And this constraint creates an advantage. Because while everyone else is scattered, they're focused. While everyone else is overwhelmed, they're executing. While everyone else is reacting, they're creating. Part 8. The delayed gratification muscle. Instant gratification is the default setting of modern life. Everything is designed for speed. Fast food, fast entertainment, fast dopamine hits. And this trains your brain to expect immediate rewards. But success is built on delayed gratification. It's built on doing today what most people won't, so you can achieve tomorrow what most people can't. Winners have trained this muscle. They've developed the habit of choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. And they've done it so consistently that it's no longer a struggle. It's automatic. They don't need to see immediate results to stay committed. They trust the process. They understand that compounding takes time, and they're willing to endure months or even years of invisible progress because they know the payoff is exponential. This habit is built through small choices. Choosing the workout over the couch, choosing the book over the scroll, choosing the difficult conversation over the comfortable silence. Each choice strengthens the muscle, and over time, delayed gratification becomes easier than instant relief. Part 9. The relentless iteration. Winners don't get it right the first time. They don't wait for perfection. They don't need certainty before they act. They launch, learn, and iterate. And they do it faster than everyone else. This is the habit of relentless iteration. It's the willingness to start before you're ready, fail forward, and improve in public. It's the understanding that action creates information, and information creates improvement. Most people plan endlessly. They research, prepare, and refine until the opportunity passes. They're so afraid of failure that they never risk success. Winners are comfortable with messy progress. They know that version 1 will be flawed, that the first attempt will fall short, that mistakes are inevitable, but they also know that every iteration brings them closer to mastery. That feedback is the fastest path to excellence, and that waiting for perfection is just procrastination in disguise. So they ship, they test, they learn, they adjust, and they do it again. Faster and better each time. Part 10. The gratitude anchor. This might surprise you, but winners practice gratitude, not in a fluffy, performative way, but as a strategic habit that keeps them grounded, resilient, and motivated. Here's why it matters. Ambition without gratitude leads to burnout. You're always chasing, never satisfied, perpetually focused on what's missing instead of what's present. And this creates a scarcity mindset that drains your energy. Winners balance ambition with appreciation. They're hungry for more, but they're also grateful for what they have. And this balance fuels sustainable performance. The habit is simple. They regularly acknowledge progress, wins, and blessings. Not to settle, but to recognize how far they've come. This creates momentum. It reminds them that they're capable, that they're making progress, that the journey is working. Gratitude also protects against entitlement and arrogance, two mindsets that sabotage long-term success. It keeps winners humble, hungry, and aware of the opportunities they've been given. And this awareness makes them more likely to seize future opportunities instead of taking them for granted. Conclusion: build the habit, become the winner. The habit that separates winners from everyone else is not a single behavior. It's a collection of mental practices that, when woven together, create an entirely different operating system. It's the habit of conscious interpretation, choosing empowering narratives over default ones. It's the habit of emotional mastery, observing feelings without being controlled by them. It's the habit of identity building, taking actions that align with who you want to become. It's the habit of clarity, knowing what matters and focusing relentlessly on it. It's the habit of constraint, eliminating what doesn't serve you. It's the habit of delayed gratification, choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. It's the habit of relentless iteration, acting, learning, and improving faster than everyone else. And it's the habit of gratitude, balancing ambition with appreciation. None of these habits are complicated, but together they create a transformation that most people never experience. The difference between winners and everyone else is not talent, luck, or circumstances. It's the daily practice of thinking, deciding, and acting differently. You can start today, right now, with one small choice, one conscious interpretation, one deliberate action. And if you build these habits one day at a time, you won't just achieve more, you'll become more. That's the real secret, not what winners do, but who they become.